The time these events took place, I lived on a quiet street a little outside the city. My street had a big rundown house at the very end of the block. The person who inhabited the house before it became dilapidated was Mrs. Morgan. Mrs. Morgan was an old curmudgeon in every sense of the word. Every time my friends and I would walk by the house, she would yell at us. Our parents always told us that we should try and be nice. She was a widow and had no children. About 3 years ago, when Mrs. Morgan unfortunately passes away, and the house becomes abandoned and, I believe, eventually condemned, and started my walk past Mrs. Morgan's house. I heard a noise. I stopped for a minute to make sure it wasn't a skunk because, for some odd reason, that's the first thing that popped in my mind. That's when I noticed the front door that was usually boarded up and had a sign posted on it was now open. I tried to rationalize why the door was now open. I then paused in front of the house and looked directly at the front door, and that's when I saw her, Mrs. Morgan, right there, staring back at me.